Hello everyone, thank you for being here today. Sorry, audio technology. Thank you for being here today. We are the Thoughts Cost team and we're thrilled to share with you ReadEase, our year-long project that bridges the gap between technology and accessibility. Our focus was to leverage AI to enhance accessibility for students with disabilities. Let's dive in. Before we start getting into the details, let's introduce the team. I'm Jaidan Martinez-Lainez.
Hello, my name is Rina An.
I'm Asma Malhotra.
I think this one. Hi, I'm Jaidan.
And we worked alongside our sponsor, Anthony Washington, our sponsor tech lead, Jaidan, and our faculty advisor, Lisa Mikowski. Each of us played a critical role when it came to designing and developing this platform, and we're excited to share that with you today. At Thoughts Cost, we wish that the education system empowers every student, not just the majority. However, traditional learning methods have often overlooked the unique needs of students with learning disabilities. Our focus was to create a website with teacher and student profiles, leveraging AI technology for accessibility tools. This includes text-to-speech, text summarization, and assessment functionality. Our vision is simple: a world where every student, regardless of their ability, has access to adaptive and supportive learning environments. We're not just building a tool, but a future where every student feels seen, supported, and empowered to succeed. This has driven our developmental process for the past 9 months. Now I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Asa for our key functionalities.
Thank you, Adriana. So we have 3 main key features. Our first is platform integration assessment. Our second is multi-modal learning support, and our third is file and data management. Under platform integration assessment, teachers will be able to create customized assessments that are tied to uploaded books. And students can go take those assessments and then receive back automatic grading. And under multi-modal learning support, these are just our AI implementations, such as text-to-speech, text summarization, and our AI chatbot for reading comprehension. And then finally, we have file and data management, where we'll be able to store student progress, assessment scores, and the AI model usage data. Now this is how our system is designed. So all our components, such as the teacher and student interfaces, as well as the databases, are all combined into a single system. And all of our external services, like our AI implementations, are also added directly into the website. And on the right side, you can see just more of the specific details of our project. Now I'll hand it off to Rina.
Awesome, thank you, Asta. So now that we've reviewed some of our technologies, let's dive into one of them. Our database, which serves as a digital library and gradebook. Now, the database has 3 primary functions. First, it manages user information on teachers and students. Second, it stores assessment data, which includes the questions themselves, as well as the correct answers to the questions and the student answers to the question. Finally, it helps track activity and progress, and this includes the interactions students have with our chatbot, as well as the automatically graded assessment scores. Now, moving on, I'd like to introduce 2 core functionalities of our project. To start, a teacher is able to create an assessment. Teachers will provide basic assessment information such as the title, the students who are assigned the assessment, as well as the book the assessment defines questions for. We have multiple choice questions that can be defined by the teachers, and each assessment must have at least 1 question, and the teacher can define up to as many questions as they desire by clicking the Add New Question button. Upon completing the creation of the assessment, the teacher can click the Create Assessment button, and the assessment data will be stored in our database. Next, students are able to take the assessments that were created and assigned to them by their teachers. On the upper left, we have the assessment title. On the upper right, we have a timer, which keeps track of the time the student has spent on the assessment. Now, this is a metric which helps teachers determine how challenging or engaging the assessment was. Below, we have the multiple choice questions. Students are able to only click 1 option for each question. And upon taking the assessment, students can click the Submit Assessment button, and their answers will be automatically graded, and the data will be stored in the database. Now, that uncovered some core functionality. I'd like to pass our achievements and accomplishments of this project to Jay.
Okay, thank you, Rina. So let's take a look at our project milestone and also our future vision for ReadEase. For teachers, we have built the ability to create custom assessments, which can be directly linked to the books that they upload on the database. The teacher can also view the progress of the students through visual charts, which can help them gain insight on the students' performance. The teachers can also create multiple assessments, and they will all be shown on the student's dashboard. For students, we have built a book reader where the students can read the books that have been uploaded by the teachers. The book reader also supports tools like changing the font style and changing the font size for better reading. In the book reader, we also include tools like the text-to-speech and the AI chatbot for more support and for instant clarification. Our future vision for ReadEase is key features that can be implemented in the future. Some of them are included as follows. The first one is the view progress page, where we can also display the data for what books have been read by the student. We can also provide the functionality for the teachers to manage the students on the dashboard itself. Also, we can change the question format for the Create assessments to let teachers change the question type. For example, providing short answers or fill in the blanks instead of the multiple choice questions that are already present in ReadEase right now. And also improving the AI model in the book reader for better responses to the students. One more key functionality is extracting the chapters of the book in the book reader so that the student can have an easier time switching between different pages and also going to a specific portion of the book. Now I'll talk about how we did the testing for ReadEase. We started by focusing on the user, and we tested ReadEase from a user's perspective to check if the correct input is giving the correct output. After that, we looked at the accessibility to make sure that ReadEase is a platform which can be used by everyone, including people with disabilities. We complied with the global accessibility standards to make sure that ReadEase is easy to use. Next, we looked at the user feedback. We directly asked teachers and students to try ReadEase and get feedback from them. Their experience helped us gain insight on how we can improve ReadEase and what can be tweaked for better usability. Next, we focused on the design of ReadEase. We made sure that the UI is bright so that people can easily view the website, and also make sure that it's responsive. And lastly, we focused on the performance to make sure that ReadEase is fast and can be used by multiple users under peak usage. This concludes our presentation for ReadEase. Now we'll move on to the demo part where Rina will show us the student dashboard.
Awesome, thank you, Jay. So this is our login page. This will remain the same for both teachers and students. The difference lies in the credentials. So let's try logging into our student profile. Upon logging in, we'll see two functional drop-downs, books and assessments. I'll be covering the book section. In the book section, the user is able to select a grade level to read from, which will populate a list of appropriate books. Upon selecting a certain book and clicking the Read Book button, we are brought to our book reader, which is a reading interface. There are two views. In the PDF view, the student is able to read the book as it is printed. In the text view, only the text is extracted. And there are various font styles to accommodate different reading disabilities and visual impairments. For some people read better with serifs, some don't. We can also change the font sizes accordingly. A core functionality is the ability to highlight a portion of the text. And once we click the speed selected button,
tasting them. If only he was very hungry.
we can hear the text be spoken. For the purposes of the demo, we have a short portion selected. However, users can select larger portions, and as they read, they can read along or also use the chatbot below. In the chatbot, we can ask the chatbot to define a certain word, summarize large portions of the text, or explain a phrase. Let's try asking the chatbot to define what an assessment is. We get the definition, which is the act of evaluating something. So once the student has finished reading, they can click the back to dashboard button to return back to the home page. Now that I've covered the book section, I'd like to pass our assessment section to Asta.
Thank you, Rena. So under the assessment section, you can see all the assessments that have been assigned to the student. To take an assessment, the student can click the Take button, and it'll take them to the assessment. As mentioned before, the top right, you can see the time elapsed, as well as all the questions and the answer choices. Once a student is finished taking the assessment, they can go ahead and click the Submit Assessment button, and it'll guide them back to the dashboard. Now to see their assessments, they can go back to the Assessments tab and click the Completed Assessments button. Here, you can see all the assessments the student has completed, the date they submitted it, the score, and the time it took them to complete it. Now I'll hand it off to Adriana to start talking about the teacher dashboard.
So like previously mentioned, the difference between a student and teacher profile is by the credentials. So this time around, we're gonna log in through the teacher credentials. So upon a successful login, we are greeted with 4 functional drop-downs, which includes students, books, view progress, and assessment. I'm gonna focus on the left side of the page. So for the students drop-down, we're greeted with all the students that are particularly assigned with this teacher. The teacher has the option to add more students. At this time, we're not gonna show the functionality of this option as it is currently a work in progress. On the View Progress dropdown, we're greeted with the same list as above with one key functionality, which is viewing the student's data. We're gonna go ahead and view the data for Ever. So for student Ever, we're greeted with a whole bunch of information and data, which is crucial for the teacher to really see where the progress is of a student. We can see on the left side, we have chat history, which is all the chat history that Ever put into the chatbot in their profile. So you can see that we have defined assessment, and based off these questions, the teacher can distinguish what particularly is the student struggling on or something that they've mastered. To see something that they've mastered, there is a data visualization or a graph on the right side that shows the assessment scores of the per assessment that the student has taken. And then below we have the incompleted assessments, and this can help with the teacher distinguishing, what is the student avoiding or just diving right into. So now we can go back into the main dashboard, and I'm gonna pass it off to Jay for the other half.
Thank you, Adriana. So on the right side of the teacher's dashboard, we have the books and the assessments dropdown. Under the books dropdown, we can see all the books that have been uploaded by the teacher on the database. We can click on Add Book to add a book to the database, where the teacher needs to put in the book title, the author's name, select which grade the book is being assigned to, and then upload a PDF version of the book and upload it. Going back to the dashboard, under the books dropdown, again, we can see the search functionality. We can search for a specific book, and that will show the result for that book. For the assessments, it's the same dropdown. It shows the list of assessments that have been created by the teacher. The search functionality also works for assessments, where they can look up for a specific assessment. In front of each assessment title, there's a view button. When clicked on the view button, it will take them to a preview of the assessment, where the teacher can view all the information that's being stored in the assessment, from the assessment title to the book that it's being linked to, the students who have been assigned the assessment, and the questions and the correct answer as well. There's an edit assessment button on the page, which when clicked will let the teacher edit the assessment as well. They can change all the aspects from the title to the students who have been assigned the assessment, the book that the assessment is linked to, add questions, remove questions, change the questions options, the correct option as well. And once the edit is saved, we'll be back to the view progress. The other functionality in the view page is to delete the assessment as well. Now returning back to the dashboard, under the drop-down there's an Add Assessment button, which when the user clicks will take them to the Add Assessment page, where they can create new assessments, input the same data they have already showcased, which is the title, the student's book, questions. And once the assessment is created, it will be saved in the database and will be reflected on the student's dashboard to take the assessment. And this concludes our demonstration of ReadEase. Thank you to our sponsor, Jaidan and Anthony, for their support, as well as our faculty advisor, Lisa Milkowski, for making ReadEase a success. And we're very proud of what we have achieved with this project. Thank you. Yes, please.
Oh, should we call? You can go.
Okay. I had a question about the AIs, particularly the one where it's a voice that kind of reads back to you. So like with the development of AI these days, there's a lot more human-like nature to AI voices, and I was wondering if that's something you foresee implementing into ReadEase, just to make it like more like human accessible for like children as well when they're hearing voices being read back to them.
That can definitely be something achieved in the future. Right now, our AI model is not very strong where it can mimic human voices. But once the AI model is revised again and again, and we have like further iterations, once it gets smart enough to talk like a human, then that can definitely be put as a feature as in ReadEase, and maybe the book reader can also become an audiobook listener where you can also listen to the book. Yes, please.
And then to ask my question, so you focused a lot on like visual disabilities for people who are like reading the books, but what about for the assessments as well? I assume if they need help reading, that they're probably going to need help on the assessment. Like they might not be able to actually read the questions.
Yeah, so that's something we actually discussed in the beginning of our developmental process, where where's the line on the type of help that we can add. Of course, we can't add the chat bot when it comes to the assessments, since that can lose the integrity of the assessment. But I do foresee in the future where we can implement those customizable fonts and any further implementation in regards to the highlighting of text and reading back, that can be pretty helpful for students who are struggling with a reading disability or even like a visual impairment. And that is something that we got during our user feedback sessions, and it's something that we can definitely see in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, and saw that you guys basically, so the credentials basically allow you to log into either the teacher's dashboard or the student's dashboard, right? You guys think it'd be a good possibility to have like an admin login to like help like manage the teachers or like the courses, or the course material, something like that?
I can take that one. So right now in teacher's dashboard, we have a work in progress add student feature, which will let the teachers manage the students. As for the teachers, they can sign up from the login page, but if you want to manage the teachers' roles as well, then that can be done from the database, which we can provide the access. But in the foreseeable future, yes, we can also add a third dashboard for the admins, which can also manage the teachers and the students. But for now, we're just keeping it simple and what the sponsor is expecting from us.
We can take one more question.
I really liked what you guys talked about for supporting students who have like reading disabilities. I know with reading disabilities, they're not always rooted in that visual impairment and not necessarily, they're kind of based in language and the comprehension. So how do you support students who you have that implemented speech to text? How do you support students who have those auditory deficits? Or for example, like when you were talking about the books, what if the sentence questions are too complex? How can the teachers restructure those questions to support those students with your AI?
I'm sorry. So just for clarification purposes, so is it like a way for teachers to gauge if students are truly understanding, or if there's another way to restructure the text?
Yeah, because I'm wondering, like, you have different assessment questions based off of the books that they're reading in class. So based off of like their performance and teachers seeing like, okay, this child is having really difficult with more complex based questions, how can the teachers use that information? Are they able to change the level of complexity of the questions based off of your chatbot feature?
Yes. So we are currently working on giving more metrics to teachers about student activity and metrics so that teachers can truly understand how difficult this task or the assessment is for the student. So currently how it works is we have our chatbot information in the view progress section, So for example, let's say that students are asking the chatbot to define words a lot. Then the teacher can understand, okay, so this student is having trouble with either defining a word, vocabulary, and something along the lines of that. So what they can do is they can then go to pre-assessment and create an appropriate assessment. It's the same for if they have challenges in the current assessment. Let's say that the time spent was very long and the score wasn't very great for an assessment. The teacher could check in with the student, ask how it was, and if the student said he found the wording difficult, the teacher can either go in and edit the assessment accordingly or create another assessment just for the student.
I can also add on to that. So when we were hosting our user feedback sessions, something that came up was like, how can, this came from a teacher perspective, how can a teacher go ahead and create a curriculum plan for a student, automatically using this AI software? And when ReadEase was first proposed, that was the ultimate goal. However, there's a lot of steps to get there, and this is like the first step to getting the comprehension and understanding of what's going on with the student while they're reading. And we hope that in the future we're able to create those curriculum plans, but at this time, those curriculum plans are guided by the teacher based off the data that they're given. And so this is step one, and there's still so many more steps to get to the point where a student can be fully supported and a teacher can be fully supported as well.
Great presentation.